So we just wrapped up what month 1 of ACL rehab would look like and entail. Now, heading into month 2, we are not completely dismissing all of the stuff we just talked about. We're probably tying up loose ends with range of motion. We're still refining some things with regards to optimizing weight bearing and gait. We're still managing symptoms. They're just highly predictable at this point. We don't have as much swelling, we don't have as much bruising. If we're having discomfort, we can probably trace it back to a new activity or a higher volume of activity. But the big theme that we're going to translate into with month 2 is establishing body weight competency and a reintroduction of some common foundational and functional movement patterns. In this video, we're going to give you an idea of what those patterns look like, and ultimately, how are we going to test at the end of the month to make sure that we're still tracking in the same direction before we get into the next month, which has a little bit more emphasis on true strength training and making sure that we're prepared to enter that phase. As we progress into month 2, we don't just forget about everything that we did in the preceding month. And that's going to be a common theme as we move through this. You don't just focus on the goals of month 1 and then move into month 2 and focus on that and move into month 3. You're always going to have some carryover and some overlap between these months. But in month 2, what I like to term this month as is body weight competency. That's our goal. Everything that we can do on the non-surgical leg, we want to start to attempt and try to replicate that on our surgical leg. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that it's going to be flawless. But what we can do on the non-surgical leg with regards to walking, going up and down steps, doing squatting motions like to get on and off of a chair or on and off of a box, to do hinging motions that would replicate things that we'll do later in programming from a strength training standpoint, lunge variations, step-up variations, all of these foundational functional movement patterns that we're not adding any extra weight to, but just getting comfortable and getting competent managing our body weight. That's really the theme of month 2. Now, to supplement that, you are going to be doing some resisted exercises where you are isolating muscles and isolating joints of the lower body. So you will do some ankle, knee, and hip specific movements where you may be using a TheraBand, you may be using ankle weights. They may have some different machines at their clinic that they're doing to isolate these different motions. And I always say you're kind of building up the pieces of the puzzle, whereas when you're doing your more functional movements, you're learning how to put all of those pieces back together. At the end of this month, there are various body weight strength tests that we can do, such as calf raises, bridges, sit to stands, wall sits, tap down and step up variations, where we can quantify how much you're doing and we can qualify or give you feedback as to how well you are doing it from not only a performance standpoint and a quantity, but also a quality of movement. So in month 2, it's exciting because you get to start doing things that almost look like precursor to future strength training activities. And in this, it's not uncommon to have reduced range of motion or reduced distances that you are doing certain things through to make sure that you're staying within the protocols of what your surgeon and your PT deem to be safe and appropriate in that given time frame. Another tool that you may be utilizing in this is BFR, or blood flow restriction therapy. With this, it's the use of a tourniquet device, and it looks like a blood pressure device that reduces blood flow to the exercising muscle. When this happens, it reduces the amount of oxygen available for that muscle. So it makes very basic exercises for that leg and for that muscle group very, very challenging. So it's pretty cool. It's almost like a cheat code for rehab, where when we're not allowed to do a lot of traditional strength training and loading because we want to protect the ACL and the healing areas, we can use BFR to make very basic exercises feel very challenging. So we're reducing the mechanical load of exercise, but we're still stimulating the same metabolic response, which is ultimately what drives muscle growth and muscle strength.